while ago, these leaders that they call leaders, this included Lena Horne, this included Dick Gregory, and this included comedians, comics, trumpet players, baseball players. Show me in the white community where a comedian is a white leader. Show me in the white community where a singer is a white leader, or a dancer or a trumpet player is a white leader. These aren't leaders. These are puppets and clowns that have been set up over the white community and over the black community by the white community, and have been made celebrities and usually say exactly what they know that the white man wants to hear.
From 1961 till now. Yeah? You want to tell me from 1961 till now. None of the African country not put nothing in place for the migrant, them, the West Indian migrant. Did they refer to us as African? Migrant, una migrant. West Indian migrant. Them they refer to as Jamaican migrant. That's why you have this problem if we're not going to Africa right now. You are being treated as migrant. Me tell you, some go Africa and dash with my Jamaica passport, you know. And then when I realize that I'm being treated as migrant, I just take for myself. You know? So I can't culture shame me. I can't make me do a walk back by myself.
Immigrant here. I've been living in the States for almost a year, and I just want to give some context as to why African Americans may be experiencing what they're experiencing when it comes to us immigrants. I'm not here to invalidate that creator's feelings nor anybody's feelings who shares that experience with her. So first things first, the way how African Americans prioritize blackness isn't necessarily the same way in which an immigrant would prioritize their blackness. So you know how African Americans will say, oh, black writer, black creator, black artist, black lawyer, black doctor, black woman in STEM. No, when we come to this country, it's immigrant or nationality. Maybe our careers next, and then whatever else comes after that. So immigrant, Jamaican, marketer, whatever else comes after that.
Okay, let's stop right there for a minute. Let me go through what problem I got with that. Okay, so that's not the first time that we've heard that actual immigrant first, nationality, yada yada yada, right? Okay, cool. If you're immigrant first, not a problem. And of course, she doesn't represent all of Jamaica. No. She doesn't represent all the Jamaican immigrants. No. Okay? I want to make sure I say that as a preface, right? I want to say it. I mean, do I have to play my disclaimer or something? Because hold on.
Disclaimer. In the video, I am speaking about the subject matter. I'm not speaking about all people. So if this doesn't refer to you, I'm not talking about you.
All right. So she said immigrant, though. Immigrant. This is my problem. In the beginning, she said, we say black doctor, black lawyer, black scientist, black this, black that. But when it's time to pass out some money for black people, here she comes with her hand out too, talking about, I'm black. Can I get a grant? I'm black. I can get a scholarship too. I'm black. I want to sign up for the Juneteenth parade and get some sort of reward money. I'm black. I want some of that housing for black people. All of a sudden, when it's time for resources to get passed out to black people, all of a sudden everybody throw away that immigrant, and all of a sudden now you're black. See, that's my problem with it, and that's what most black Americans' problem with it, is that you don't want to be black until it's time to get involved in resources that could come to black people. My thing is this: if you want to be immigrant, fine. I'm not against that. Be immigrant 24/7. Don't throw away your immigrant status when it's time to go get some money now. Or we talking about reparations. Hey, you know, we was in slavery too. I mean, so, hey, we should be able to get some of that money. Oh, hold on. You're an immigrant. You have no right to no reparations here. You can go holler at Britain about reparations for Jamaica, and I'm with you. If Britain cut you the check, I'm going to celebrate with you. But not here. But you try to worm your way into reparations commissions, worm your way into a conversation, then you find out, wait a minute, hold on, sister. Listen to your accent. No. That's my problem. That's probably some of y'all problem. Stop work. If you're an immigrant, stop trying to put if you're not black, you don't identify as black, you're not black, right? Fine. Because when CARICOM does something and gives something specifically to y'all, we can't ever get it. We can't get no Caribbean scholarships, nothing, right? Why can't we get it? But you can come in and put your hand out when it's time for black? No, 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 no. If you're immigrant, stay immigrant. If you're going to be black, stay black. But you got to choose. You have to choose. Why should I have to choose? Because even the scripture says, I'd rather you be hot or cold, not lukewarm. If you're lukewarm, I'm going to spew you out. And that's what's happening to a lot of you. You can't come in here lukewarm. You're going to pick a side. So let's continue this loving. It's a conversation of love. I love this sister. I really do. I care about her. That's why I'm talking about it. All right. Let's go.
What you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you. And the reason that we don't see ourselves as one of you is not because of blackness. We just see ourselves as an outsider. We have to work twice as hard to get where you are. We are so focused on our own business. Some of us that come to this country don't even have a legal right to be here. You get me? So while you are fighting your fight, which is that of blackness, we are fighting our fight as immigrants first before we even see the fight of being black. Case on point, back in Jamaica, it wasn't very hard for me to get a corporate job. I have the experience, I'm qualified, I'm all rounded, right? When I started applying to marketing jobs here, I was so timid, and I wasn't timid because I was black. I was timid because all my experience is saying Kingston, Jamaica. My education is saying Kingston, Jamaica. My volunteer experience is Kingston, Jamaica. My entrepreneurial projects is Kingston, Jamaica. When those people get my resume, the first thing that they're gonna see is an immigrant. They're not thinking that this is a black person.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to education. Ma'am, you stepped into the land of the fake free and the home of the so-called brave, okay? And what runs this land, whether you realize it or not, is not your immigrant status, it's your color. Them people, them folks that you're trying to get a job from, they don't care about your accent. They look at you and they see that skin color. So this is why all your experience in Jamaica, it don't even matter to them, because they don't even appreciate the experience in Jamaica that you have. They see that you are a black woman, just a black woman with an accent, but you're a black woman. Your immigrant status not holding you back. Trust me, they're not worried about your immigrant status. They worry about you being a black woman and possibly maybe you more educated over Becky over there. You understand? So the reason why you can't get a job with all that experience, just like a black American who has all this experience on the job or schooling or whatever and can't get a job. Now, when it happens to black Americans, we don't have immigration status, right? We're not immigrants. We don't have accents. So why are we in the same shoes then? Let me think. I know, because they look at us as black. You can call yourself not black all you want. When it comes to them folks, you're black. Period. You can say, I'm not them, they not us. In this country, if you go work for them folks, you are black. Period. Don't matter if you from the soil, don't matter if you come from another country, you walk around with this skin, you walk around with these wide noses and big lips and coarse hair, you are black, ma'am or sir. Let's continue.
Fighting for our place at the table as immigrants to provide for ourselves and our families. I started a business recently and I'm trying to break into some spaces, and I realized that when I'm on the phone, as intelligent as I sound, they're hardly interested because of my accent. I have an American fiance, and when I'm trying to get into those spaces, I hand her the phone and she speaks on the company's behalf. Why is that? Because they're more inclined to listen to her because she's American. Another thing is...
Well, I'm gonna say something about that. Now, I'm used to listening to black people talk with accents, but the average American, I've got to be real, especially them folks, they don't listen very well. So accents is very hard for them to understand. So for them, I can kind of see that with you. I understand you very well, but them, they're not too exposed. So, you know, I'm gonna give you
how
that.
angry you guys are, and rightfully so. You guys have every reason to be angry when it comes to your culture and trying to navigate and stamp your name, right? And hats off to you guys for breaking your glass ceilings and doing the best that you guys can do with what you have given the current situation that's in America. Consider this, where we're from, let me just speak on Jamaica. In Jamaica, racism is not a thing that I've ever experienced. I've experienced classism, I've experienced colorism, but not racism. So the kind of anger that you rightfully have, we don't necessarily have that. We don't necessarily have that anger. We don't have that chip on our shoulders the same way how you would have it. We can empathize with the situation, and we are very upset when we see racial injustice. But the kind of anger and drive that you guys have, we don't always share it. Like, we don't necessarily feel it. Even though we're willing to support you guys, we don't necessarily feel it the way how you guys feel it. And rightfully so, because it is not in our culture.
Okay, let's stop right there, because let's get into that. So you say you didn't deal with no racism in Jamaica. What? Hold on. Now listen, I was in Philadelphia. I had a brother who was an Uber driver. He was Jamaican, strong accent just like her. And me and him, I was talking about Jamaica. I said, hey man, you know, how is it on the ground in Jamaica and X, right? That brother told me it is sad what's going on in Jamaica. It's sad. I said, when the last time you been home, brother? He said, about a year ago. I said, okay, so you go all the time? He said, yeah, I definitely go home. He said that our biggest problem is the Chinese, who are treating them racist in Jamaica, right? You got some of them East Indians over there that's treating them racist, and them folks. The folks are just as diabolical. So what the folks is doing is buying up the land, putting their resorts on there, and taking beaches. The folks do what they do, put fences all over the place, whatever. The Jamaicans cannot even access their own Jamaican beaches that's in their homeland, because the folks say you better not go on there because this is my property. This is my land and you can't go on there. They can't even afford to be on those resorts unless they're working there. And then they buy property after property after property, taking all their beaches. They got to go walk miles upon miles away from easy access to the beach. They got to go through like the woods and all that to get to their own beaches to fish in their own country. The port of Jamaica, the Chinese own it and run it. What are you talking about? Even if you go to Jamaica, the brother told me, you better watch the Jamaican food restaurants you go to, because a lot of that's owned by the Chinese. They run in your country, and they're not treating the Jamaican people right either. Ma'am, you are a liar. That's why they picked you to come over here. Just what you said. You're lying. How come your people in Jamaica are saying a totally different story? What I'm saying, you could easily go verify on YouTube. They got freaking documentaries talking about what I'm telling you. They're on YouTube. That's why they picked you to come over here. And you're so delusional that you really think your accent is going to be the final problem. If that's the case, they got white people come over here with accents too. How come they still get a job? Because they're white. That's why. There's plenty of racism going on in Jamaica right now. And your black Jamaican government allows all that racism to happen to y'all. That's why you were picked to come over here, and that's why you wanted to get the hell on. Because you know what's going on in Jamaica. You know. So don't come over here lying, ma'am, and say, well, you know, we feel you. We understand, but we just don't can't. No. That's your performative thing you got to say to them folks. to say, hey, I'm not like one of them. Don't get rid of my paperwork. I's with you, right? But let's continue here. Hold on, let's continue. We just, it's a loving conversation. That's all. We just love it.
I want to go into the square and march because at the end of the day, if the police scrape us up off the road while we're out there marching with you guys, the first thing they're gonna do is call ICE. And that's just the truth. And I get why you would feel the way you feel, because you're expecting like all black people to band together and try to help to break the glass ceiling, but it's just not our number one priority. We're just trying to survive. At the end of the day, we're trying to survive and we're not trying to get deported. I also find it very offensive when you guys are trying to say, oh, we're trying to be the white man's pet. Like, what do you mean by that? Because
there's the truth.
African Americans have to code switch if they want to be able to enter into certain spaces. You guys said that, not me. Why do you think it would be any different for us if we are trying to get ahead? Why do you think that we wouldn't want to try to align ourselves with the majority?
Yeah, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there, because that's not the first time we've heard that in a video. Okay. One thing we're not doing in Black America is trying to align ourselves with them folks. Matter of fact, we can't align ourselves with them folks because we are two opposites of the spectrum. We're not trying. See, in your mind, you mentioned code switching. Ma'am, you don't know what you're talking about. Code switching has nothing to do with selling out. Code switching doesn't mean you be a little pet for the folks. Don't mean that. All the code switching is saying is this. When I'm with my family, I'm going to speak a certain way, Black American vernacular English, if that's what I choose to speak. If I go on the job, I'm going to speak in a way that everyone can understand me. For example, how I'm speaking here, for the most part, maybe like 95% of the time, I'm going to speak in a way where everyone can understand me. Why? Because I have people all over the world watching and they may not understand me too well if I'm using too much Black American vernacular English. You understand? So according to you, I guess that's a code switch. It's not a code switch. It's just we have to speak in a way that everyone understands us on the job. When we get with our friends, etc., our family, we speak in a different way, right? That's code switching. That's all I always talking about. It's a language thing. That's it. It's not selling out. It's not saying, oh, when we get around the folks, we're going to sell out. No, because we know as Black Americans, selling out don't work. Selling out doesn't end with retirement for you. Selling out will always have you crash and burn. Selling out would have you ostracized from the Black community. Selling out is something that the folks love, and they love to break you at the same time at the end, and they love to see that you can't go back to your Black community. Case in point, Candace Owens. I'm gonna keep using her for a while. Candace Owens, she's tried to get back to the Black community, but it won't work. She's done too much. You understand? And when they broke Candace claimed she's gonna come back in 2 weeks and start her show. Haven't seen Candace yet. Haven't seen her. Where's Candace, everybody? Everybody put APB out on Candace Owens? It's a hurtful thing when them people break you. What you need to do is listen. But see, this is why do you understand why they selected her at the embassy? He said, oh yeah, she's the one we want to come over here because she's running around talking all this racism in Jamaica that's happening against Jamaicans, all this injustice that's happening against Jamaicans, all these foreigners that's coming around here taking from Jamaicans. Out of all that happening, grown woman like that, she said there's no racism in Jamaica, no discrimination. Please. That's why you had to get on out of there, ma'am. But that's why they selected you. Let's continue.
Because we're in survival mode. My bottom line is that we do is not necessarily from a place of race. It's from a place of being an outsider and trying to find our own path on this new journey that we're taking. Those are my 2 cents.
Well, let's talk about the outsider part. I'm glad you brought that up. Ma'am, y'all chose to be an outsider. I haven't heard no black Americans say, hey, if them people come in here, they better not step foot in the black community. Watch what happens if they do. No, y'all come in here and you chose to be an outsider. Because listen, one thing every group of people know, they can go to the black community and they will be accepted. I've seen, listen, even with our history with the folks, black people will still allow the folks to come into the community, and if they nice or whatever, they can come eat, they can come be there, they can live there. Even with our horrible history with the folks, right? They are more comfortable being around us than even their own people. Straight up. Every group of people I've ever seen, the Koreans, the Vietnamese, the different Arabs, East Indians, everybody have businesses in the black community. And we were so horrible and really tribal, nobody could be in there because we were going to shut them down. You chose to come here and separate yourself, and then you want to say, we're an outsider. No, you chose that. You chose to not be with the community. You chose to, because you want to get ahead and protect your paperwork, because, fooling with them black Americans, you may get deported in your mind, right? Who said that you're going to be put on the front line? Nobody's trying to get y'all to come in here and put you on the front line of anything. The best thing you could do is just support. Say, hey, I'm with that. Hey, if we need to vote for something, hey, let me go ahead and vote for this. Hey, if it's about reparations, hey, I'm with that. Hey, let's donate for different things to happen. Nobody got to threaten their immigration status to do anything in the black community. We have never asked y'all to put yourself at jeopardy. And we don't want y'all on the front line because you can't speak to the issues of the soil. Only thing you can do is be supportive, but you can't speak to the issue. No, you came in here wanting to be an outsider and feel, well, if I go over there, they're going to put me on the front line when nobody else never asked you. Any movement we had in this country, we never asked nobody outside of black America to be on the front line, to be the speaker, to be anybody. We never said that. Now, some people have done it who from the Caribbean and things like that. Yes, they have, and we appreciate them for it, and we support them. But who said you had to be on the front line? You chose outside, not us. And like I said, because I understand they vet y'all at those embassies, I understand that. That's why my conversation is not fully like some people's conversation would be about, immigration and at least with black immigrants. I also understand by going to the continent that, and I'm pretty sure in the Caribbean too, that y'all misrepresenting them, and I'm not going to let y'all misrepresent them. No, y'all are selected, and 9 times out of 10, they saw something in you that will sell out. Look at that Emmanuel Acho running around here talking about black people. He's not black. He's Nigerian. He should be speaking as a Nigerian American, not as a black American. He's not a black American. He can't speak on black American issues because remember, he said that he don't have the trauma. If you don't have the trauma, then you can't speak on the issues because you don't know what they are. She said a chip on our shoulder. Why don't you have a chip on your shoulder in Jamaica that them folks have basically confiscated all your beaches? Why don't you have a chip on your shoulder? Them folks can go lay up in your country, enjoying your country in ways that you never can enjoy it because you got to work and clean up behind them folks. You got to clean the tables that they eat on, clean the glasses and the cups. You got to sit up here and clean their bed and do all the filth they present to y'all. These folks that come in your country, you know what I'm talking about. They present some utter filth, and because the country is so bad off, you got a lot of these brothers running around here doing God knows what with Karen and Brad and everything else. We know the stories, and you don't have a chip on your shoulder about that. You don't have a chip on your shoulder about that. That's not nothing to have a chip on your shoulder about. At least when we have a so-called chip on our shoulder, it's for the right thing. No, we shouldn't just go along to get along with oppression. We shouldn't go along to get along with discrimination. We shouldn't go along to get along to watch our economics be sabotaged while others are being, just given things. We should have a chip on our shoulder about that because it's not right. But the difference is we're not you. We're not you. See, you cool with oppression. See, there are people, and I told y'all, the reason why some of these black-ran countries are the way they are is because they don't have a chip on their shoulder. Maybe if you get a little chip on your shoulder, maybe if you get a little angry, you could change your country. See, we would still be in chattel slavery right now if we didn't have black people that had a chip on their shoulder. We'll still be in Jim Crow right now if black people didn't have a chip on their shoulder. If black people didn't have a chip on their shoulder by George Floyd, some things would never. Listen, the way the police act with us today in 2024, go all the way back to prior to Trayvon Martin, it's night and day. Man, the police aren't going in like they used to on black people. No, Lord. They are very careful now how they handle black people. I'm not saying here and there they don't do things, but it's not like they used to. The police never had no body cams. How that happened? Us having a chip on our shoulder for what happened to our people. The police wouldn't even get prosecuted. No police was going to jail at all in this country for no matter what they did to black folk. Who made that happen? Us, for having a chip on our shoulder. See, our chips bring progress for black Americans. Maybe you need to get a chip on your shoulder in your homeland so you could change the things in your homeland. You never would change nothing in even your personal life without getting a chip on your shoulder, being angry about it. Because if you're comfortable with it, you'll never change it. You say Trayvon's mother is from the islands? And we didn't care about that. We say, hey, that's a young black man, young black boy that lost his life with injustice. No. We kept watching the police over and over and over and over and over doing things to black people. There were certain names I want to bring up right now, but I know I'm on YouTube. I can't bring up certain names like I want. But there are certain individuals that had a chip on their shoulder and took matters into their own hands at times, and the community the community did what they had to do. And when we do it, notice nobody say y'all wrong for what y'all did. No, everybody know that is righteous what you're doing. We seen what happened to George Floyd. We seen what happened to Michael Brown. We seen all that. We seen what happened to Freddie Gray. We seen this. So everybody like, nah, I understand. I may not agree with the tactics, but I understand. But that's what having a chip on your shoulder produces. It produces justice. I was watching a police video today. Boy, how they talk to black people today. Boy, it's like, boy, I say, man, them police are real nice today. I like watching sometimes in body cam videos on YouTube, and like they go wild with black people now. Boy, back in the day, man, they would want to hear, man, please, they looking for you to flinch so they can get at you. You know what I'm saying? Like the police they're not like they used to be. I'm not saying things don't happen here and there. I'm not saying that. But come on, y'all. Every other month, something was happening. Y'all know this because I covered it. I was literally living on covering stories of police brutality. And those stories are so far and few in between, I can't remember the last one I've covered. Yeah, it say George Floyd. It changed the game. You can get mad all you want about, oh, George Floyd this, George Floyd that. There were plenty of George Floyds in America. Plenty at one point in time. shaving, he's in jail. That would have never happened at one point in time. Never. You go all the way back to even the time of the LA riots with Rodney King, brothers and sisters turning up. Because the LAPD was in the 80s and 90s. Oh my God, the LAPD. That's what jumped a lot of that off. And California still got some issues, of course, that LA Sheriff's Department. But shoot, even Villanueva recently got out. Now, I don't know fully everything, but, we don't have the numbers we used to in LA as black people. But I'm just saying, we have made progress in this country. And we're going to continue to make progress in this country. But you can't make progress if you don't have a chip on your shoulder. It's just that simple. Yeah, Max, you said that one of the worst positions to be in life is to be comfortable in captivity. Yeah. And the problem is, unfortunately, a lot of our brethren in the diaspora, they're comfortable. Well, this is the way it is. And you got some people in Black America comfortable too. It's not, I can't just point it at a few groups. No, that's a black issue worldwide. So, well, it's the way it is. It's always going to be this way. But thank God for people that say, no, I'm not putting up with that. I'm not going to live like a slave all my doggone life. I'm not going to sit here and be treated this way my whole life, man. No, this isn't right. I'm not going to have this happen to me. I'm going to fight. Oh, you said tell about Christian Obenseli? Yeah. Look, I don't have to go there. I don't even have to go there. So she said her American girlfriend. I wonder if her American girlfriend is Becky. I'm curious. I'm very curious, but I don't know. Because 9 times out of 10, that's what. Yeah, Great Black Show said the chip of righteousness will always be on the shoulders of the children of the Most High. He's 100% right, 100% right. Yeah, anything worth having is a slow progress. What I've learned. Anything that you get too fast, it never lasts. I've learned that even over the years of what I do. Everything I've done has been slow. I've seen so many people shoot past me and do this and do that, and all of them crash and burn in the end because it's a process of taking it a certain way. Even though it may take longer, it's a certain process. But you said some folks, it's you said it's Becky, trust and believe. Hey, that's her business. But usually that's what they do. The first thing they get, they don't even go get a person in their own community. They go say, shoot, let me go over the hill with her, right? Erica, I don't see how this will backfire in whose face. It don't backfire in nobody's face. We get to learn the mentality. But like I told y'all, the author of the confusion is the folks. Y'all got to understand that. They're creating this problem. I'm going to keep saying that they're creating it because they're cherry picking people like her and others to come here because they already heard what they had to say. Racism is no such thing as racism. I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I don't have no trauma, U.S. Embassy. I'm good. And also, I'm LGBT. So I'm really good. Oh, shoot. Come on to the United States of America. Welcome. Now, if you get out of line and you're around them Black Americans, just remember, I got your immigration paper right here. And I'll kick you on out of here if you get out of line now. That's it. All right, with that being said, shout out to Jamaica, shout out to Jamaica, shout out to Jamaicans, Jamaican Americans, the brothers and sisters that ride, the brothers and sisters that always stood up and fought for the right thing, Jamaican Americans, I'm with you. I love Jamaican food, I love the plantains, I love the rice and chickpeas, the oxtails, I love it. I love it, Jamaicans. I'm with you, I'm your brother, and y'all my brothers and sisters. We know good and well she don't represent all Jamaican Americans. She don't represent the country of Jamaica. We know that. I'm saying that up front, so I don't need my brothers and sisters from Jamaica writing me, telling me about, no. She's not your representative. She's not. but we have to address people that have her mindset, right? And it's just a conversation we having, right? A diaspora conversation. It's a conversation of love. It's chastisement, right? You know, I don't have nothing against her personally. I don't. I just want her to understand where she at and the error in her ways. And if she correct the error in her ways, then hey, I am here to be here with open arms and say, hey, sister, you know, I'm glad you fixed it. Come on, let's get you some good food over here. And let's sit down at the cookout or something. You know what I'm saying? Bring a plate. But you got to get the area of your ways straightened up first. That's it. That's all. See, when I talk about people in the diaspora, that's a conversation I'm having. Now, when it comes to others outside, then we're going to have a different conversation because they coming at something totally different than these others, right? But anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the show, a live stream, I'm sorry. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure that you...
Guys, welcome to another video. It's Ndagiri here. Thanks for coming. As always, for the subscribers, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Today's video is something that I got from a fellow creator, and she's also a guest most of the times on this channel, Esina Tukonda, and please go check out her full clip of this video. We have a Black American woman who is literally tired of what is going on in Ghana, and she had to just speak about it. But yeah, guys, watch this clip, come back, and let's talk about it.
There are Americans coming over here being nasty, doing nasty things, and being bad to the locals. Now, let me flip the fucking script, okay? Let's talk about the fact that we get abused over here, too. The thing about Ghana is stop crying victim. Stop crying victim, because y'all cheat us out of a lot of stuff. Y'all invited us to come home, which by the thousands we did. We came running to Ghana. People sold their homes, moved out of their apartments, sold everything. Some people packed up containers and moved over here just to get over here and realize this is not our home. Y'all call us foreigners. Ghanaians call us that. We didn't make that word up. We didn't start calling ourselves that. We don't know that that's what y'all call the white people and the Chinese because we're not around them. But we know that that's what y'all call us. I ain't never heard the word before, Toby, till I came to Ghana. Okay, y'all invite us home. Let's talk about what y'all do to us. Starting from the fucking before we get to the airport, we got to have a visa that we pay for to even enter our home. We pay all this money for passports and visas to get here. We get to the airport, and as soon as you see a fucking blue passport, everybody's coming for us. Can you give me something small at the COVID place? You get to immigration. Can you give me something small? You get to baggage. Can you give me something small? A person grabbed a damn cart and put my bag on it and got mad because I gave him $5 because I only had hundreds, because you come over here with hundreds to get the best, cash in rate. How about he looked at that and said, I don't want that. I said, what you mean you don't want it? I said, I want to know, what did you expect me to give you? He said, $10. I said, so you want me to give you over 100 CDs for picking up a bag, putting it in a cart? He don't know this is like my 5th time coming through the airport. I have never seen nowhere in any country or state where people have openly, it says $60 for foreigners, $30 for locals, okay? You go to Cocoon Park, and I don't remember the price. Let's say $200 for foreigners, because that's what y'all call us, $40 for locals. You go to the castle, it's $60 for foreigners, $10 for locals. I ain't never seen that nowhere. I ain't never went nowhere in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada where it said you pay, if you a local, if you're from here, you pay $3 for a Coca-Cola, but if you're a foreigner, you pay $8 for a Coca-Cola. I ain't never seen that nowhere except Ghana. Nobody in the airport has ever asked me for no money for nothing. I have only seen that in Ghana. Now let's talk about the fact that y'all welcomed us home and how this process looks to me. According to y'all, the ones of us that were stolen, so let's talk about the process of coming home. We got stolen from our mother, our birth mother and father. 20 years later, we're probably 26 years old now. Our mother finds us and she said, baby, y'all come home. I miss you. Come back home. Get out them streets where they don't love you at and come home. So we drive, take a taxi, however we get to our mother's address, we get there. But before she let us come to the door, she says, oh, welcome home. But before you come in, can you pay me $300 to enter the door? That's the visa to come home. So, okay, we happy to be home. So we paid $300 to our mother to step foot in her house because we're excited to be home to the motherland, okay? We get in there, and now it's dinner time. And she has plates on the table for the kids that grew up in the house, and she has a plate on the table for me and my sister who was stolen years ago. And she says, oh, my daughters, because you didn't grow up here, my children get to eat free that grew up here, but because you were stolen and you're just coming back, I have to charge you $20 for a plate. So me and my sister, we're so happy to be home. We're confused. We pay her $20 for a plate. Okay. That's the cocoon shit. That's y'all giving us different prices for shit. Okay. Now we're at our mother's house and we're enjoying being there. We see something's a little weird, but we enjoy being back home with our mother. We decide we want to stay. And she goes, oh, you want to stay a little longer? You're going to have to pay me $1,000 every year to stay here. That's the residency. Now we're paying her for residency, even though she invited us home after we were stolen from her. Okay. Now we pay the residency, and then we decide, you know what? We want to get on the birth certificate. We kind of like it here. It's a little weird, but we comfortable enough to stay here. And she tells us, oh, in order for you to stay here, I have to put my name on your birth certificate. That's going to be $3,000 each, please. And then I will put your name on the birth certificate and you will become a family member. That's the citizenship. That's the citizenship. So how are we home if we got to pay y'all? Why aren't the visas free? If this is home, why don't you make this visa free for us? If this is home, why do we have to pay to be a resident? If this is home, why isn't our citizenship automatically given to us?
As you see in the video, that is what went down. I really can't say much about this thing because I talk about it a lot. But one thing I can really emphasize in this situation is I always talk about how you should not trust every other person that you come across to when you come or land into the continent. Please do not just love everybody. Don't just embrace everybody. People are so weird. People have different motives. And when it comes to the airport situation that the lady was talking about, I experienced the same thing. As a Ugandan when I was traveling, it was the most craziest, most ridiculous, most horrible situation that I've ever been in as a person. And I'll never forget it because literally the way I was treated at the airport by my fellow Ugandan people, my fellow people, was crazy. I've shared on videos where even other African people, when they come into different African countries or when they come into my country, they experience the worst kind of treatment, which I don't think goes to other groups of people that are not African people. And it's just sad, when it comes to the citizenship, I don't really know why African countries come out to call like African people from the diaspora and still not give them benefits on how they should navigate being in the continent. I mean, these are statements that I've shared a lot on the platform coming from our African leaders come on the internet on a daily and want to show how we should actually welcome our brothers and sisters from the diaspora and say things like they need to come back home. We need to connect Africa to the diaspora. We need to come together as a people. But then seeing that you guys are so stressed when you come in the continent, it really bothers people like me that want you to be in the continent, which is actually your home, And she really said a lot of valid reasons, as well as when she talked about begging. Me and Esther have talked about this on a daily, and other creators have talked about this. I don't know why we Africans have this begging mentality. We are so open to beg randomly, and it's really disturbing sometimes, or most of the times, because we'll never get the respect that we need. I mean, you see it also on the top of the chain where our governments receive money from these other big countries of the West, but still do even nothing with that money. And it's really sad that a person has to come in the airport and has to be scammed on every corner that they go to. But then again, do not give your money to anybody just because you're coming into the continent. Like I always tell you guys, you have this sympathy towards us that you want us to embrace you. You want African people to love you. which I don't think is very necessary, especially in the times of today, of 2024. The world changed. People are more into where they can gain from than to really connect with the people. And I always tell you guys, yes, you are African, but sometimes, or most of the times, when people see that you have an American passport, a British passport, a passport that is bigger, they will always assume that you have money. I always say these things to you because I don't want you to come in the blind. You need to know these things. You need to be stingy when you meet people. Don't just openly give out things.
Why are so many African Americans leaving Africa right now? You know, I think when people migrate to the continent or they leave abroad, as we're seeing in record numbers, more than ever before, I'm not sure if it's new or if social media is giving us these viewpoints, but you come to countries where you find the quality of life so much better, but the cost of living a lot less than what you're used to, and you overextend. You purchase a house or you get an apartment in the most luxurious part of the country. You're dining out every day, multiple times a day. You've got a driver, you know, you're doing all of these things. And while these things can still be relatively affordable, what I see for the most part is people just doing the most, like getting the most luxurious car, the most luxurious home, the most luxurious furnishings, and essentially they can't afford to not do the work that they were doing in the US to now sustain the life that they've created on the continent. And so, you know, when I first arrived to the continent, I wouldn't say made those mistakes. I have lived, had money, lost money, had money, lost it. So I knew how to live pretty frugally. But I do recommend that when you do migrate, that you enjoy that experience for the short term. And that's like 30 days, you know, celebrate yourself, have fantastic dinners out, stay at a hotel, stay in a fabulous Airbnb. But if this is something that you want to do long term, you need to get yourself on a budget and be financially responsible so that you don't overextend yourself, so that you don't end up having to go back to a country that you so direly want to get out of.
Just because you're from the diaspora, just because you're from America or Europe or whatever that you're from in the West, and you're coming here in any African country, you don't have to literally undermine the situation. Don't over exaggerate it. Don't feel like, oh, I have more money that I can survive longer in the continent. A lot of people will come to your faces. A lot of things are to be paid for. How are we calling our brothers and sisters to come back home and still want to make them pay for a lot of things? Of course, nothing comes for free. Nothing honestly comes for free. Everything has to be paid for in some ways or the other. But it just doesn't make sense that we have to do that to the people that we want to see in the continent. And she talked about how prices change between a foreigner and a local person. That's something that I've actually started to realize, because when I traveled and I went to Dubai, guys, honestly, everybody was paying the same price. It was known because you're from Uganda, you're from Nigeria, you're from America, you're from where, all the prices were the same. When it came to transport, when it came to grocery, when it came to rent, when it came to going to places of fun, it was the same price for everybody. Yes, it could be VIP or economy or whatsoever, you know, those things, but it was still a standard price. But then when it comes to, let's say, my country, it's crazy, because even when you're getting a taxi or a border, when they see how you look like, the prices change immediately, and it really bothers me. So I think as African people need to really change our mindset and have this kind of trustworthy kind of character that we can give out, because the more we do these things, it really pushes away the people that can really want or would like to stay in the continent, especially our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. It's crazy that these things happen. I remember one time I went to some recreation place and I saw foreigners who were paying a certain amount and I was paying a different amount. And, you know, I would question myself. I was like, why is this happening? So it's something that has been put in the system and people are making it a normal thing. But on the flip side, when I traveled, I didn't experience such a thing. Even though I was a foreigner in the country that I went to, I was paying the same price as anybody else. So these are things that we really need to look into as a people and start fixing them, because if we don't, we are the ones that are chasing away our own people from coming and staying in the continent. And it's absurd, really. It's really absurd. I really can't say much about it because I talk about it a lot, but I really wanted to share this and still not discourage that you should not come here. Come, just be cautious, just be mindful. Don't overlove everybody. Don't overgive everybody. Don't just be too much with everybody, because at the end of the day, most people will still see you as someone who is better, not because of your appearance, but because of where you come from, that you have more opportunities to give or to offer. So they might mostly come to you to take advantage of you, which I do not wish it for you at all. And everything will be easy. When it comes to things that concern the government, I think it's us as Africans that need to push our governments to do better so that you guys can somehow be compensated